Namaste and welcome to Tridevi Munda Mandir in Denver, Colorado. I'm Yamajit. I'm so glad you could join me this evening for part two of our satsang series on the Yoga Upanishads. Tonight we'll be featuring the Amrita Bindu Upanishad and its practices. A couple of other announcements before we begin. So this coming Friday at 7 o'clock, either live on YouTube or in person at our temple, 1260 South Xavier Street in Denver, Colorado. We'll be doing a Yoga Nidra meditation and puja. And then next Tuesday, we'll be doing the Thgis Upanishad, which means the Upanishad of the razor, the idea that yoga and meditation are the razors that cut away ignorance. I'm going to go ahead and begin with the introduction to tonight's Upanishad, and we'll work our way into the opening puja, actually as part of the practices. So I'm going to begin with the preface by the translator, Goswami Kriyananda. The Amrita Bindu Upanishad, by the way, was written sometime between 100 BCE and 300 of the Common Era. The Upanishad itself, Amrita is the divine essence. Bindu is the center of a yantra or a mandala. It's the central point from which something emanates. And really, in terms of the drop of nectar, it's referring to our third eye. The Amrita Nanda, or Amrita Bindu, can best be translated as the Om mantra reverberation, which unites the yogi with the cosmic reality, activating conscious immortality. The Upanishad is also known as the Amritananda, droplet of spiritual nectar. The Amritananda, or Bindu Upanishad, is the esoteric doctrine of the dot above the crescent of the Sanskrit word Om. So when we look at Om, and I think this is showing up backwards on your screen, my apologies. This first character is the ah sound. This curve alongside it is the oo as it rolls across the tongue. The first first part on the top is the M sound, and then the Bindu is the very end of the mantra. Really, it refers to as an extension of the letter M. And as you're humming that M, you're vibrating that third eye center. Okay, anyway, back to the introduction. One of the key ideas of this manuscript is that bookish learning at some point in spiritual life should be set aside for the practice of yoga, including mantra, such as the 12-lettered Kriya mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, which translates to Om, we bow to the divine life in all beings. This text does not say don't study. It states that one should not get lost in bookish learning. There's a difference. In practicing the Om meditation, the emphasis is not on the first three mantra sounds, but rather the soundless point symbolized by the dot called the Bindu. It is symbolized by the capital M in the English rendering of Om and symbolizes divine fire. And so some people, when referring to that extension of the M and then the slight pause and silence, sometimes they write it capital A, capital U, capital M, and then a little m. afterwards. This Upanishad mentions only 5 of Patanjali's 8 stages of Kriya Yoga: sense withdrawal, meditation, breath control, concentration, and samadhi. This advanced text sets aside the beginning stages of restraints, observances, and postures. The author then adds a 6th stage called reflection, or the Sanskrit word tarka. Reflection follows concentration, but precedes meditation. The text then deals with the 5 primary pranas and their colors, along with the use of the mystical diagrams or mandalas. We could also use the term yantras as a visualization technique. These mystical diagrams are placed over 3 different parts of the astral body as the Om mantra is recited and meditated on. This induces a Kriya projection, a spiritual and higher form of astral projection, which takes one beyond the astral world. So that brings us to the Amrita Bindu Upanishad, also known as the Amritananda Upanishad. And so we begin with part 1, the superiority of meditation. The wise who read and study textbooks over and over again, when they partake of the reality's meditated knowledge, set aside texts, they set them aside like burned ashes. The yogi mounts the chariot car of Om. His charioteer is the Lord of sustainment, Lord Vishnu, and he seeks the abode of the reality world to win for himself the production of spiritual rain, Lord Shiva's power to dissolve the negative karmas through that holy cleansing rain. So it's interesting, we're talking about the mantra Om as being like a car or a chariot, and the charioteer is Lord Vishnu. It kind of hints at the Bhagavad Gita, where the Pandava brother Arjuna is fighting on a chariot, which is driven by Lord Krishna, which is Vishnu's 8th incarnation. But this chariot car is useful only as long as the yogi is on the highway. The yogi who has come to the end of the highway leaves the chariot and goes on foot along the path. So, mantra meditation reaches this point where the mantra recitation ends, and the person doing the meditation is just in this amazing place of stillness and silence, united with the divine. In the same manner, the yogi leaves the audible world Om, and only when the silent M of the Om mantra does he come to the soundless, silent, divine flame, the concealed place of reality. So that's the end of part 1. And so this would be a good time to do our opening puja and establish sacred space. So I'm going to chant through the puja, the Om mantra, in such a way as if you've watched any of our Kriya Yoga satsangs on this channel, it'll be very familiar to you. And when reciting Om in this manner, it's a 2-word singing, Om. As you're singing it, you're moving energy from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. If you're not used to feeling that energy in meditation, try to imagine it. The feeling of it will come. And then after the Om, slight pause, and then inhaling. And as you're inhaling, bringing the energy back down from the crown to the root. So I invite you to join me in this chanting. And if it feels right, you can try the energy movement. So we begin our puja by bringing our hands to heart center. And we're going to first just chant Om 3 times before we begin this Kriya chanting. So inhale. So now with the Om chant with the energy movement. And let's continue the chant a few more times. And then just take a moment with your eyes closed. And just feel the effects of the practice, effects of the mantra. Notice how you might feel different from before we began. And then I invite you to just very slowly open your eyes. So again, this was just a very basic Kriya meditation as we gave our puja offerings. So this brings us to part 2. the 6 limbs of yoga, the 5 objects of sense, that would be the 5 senses, the instrument of action in the mind, and all other instruments do control the personality, but do not control the spirit or Atma, the spirit united with the divine. To know this is to be able to attain sense withdrawal or pratyahara. The 6 limbs of yoga are pratyahara or sense withdrawal, dhyanam or meditation, breath control of 4 stages, pranayama, and that's actually going to be one of our last, not the last meditation we're going to try. Linking to spirit, also known as concentration or dharana. Reflection, and this is reflecting on and reflecting and inner reasoning between one's mind and one's soul. Also, this is also called tarka. And then communion with the spirit or samadhi. By heating the slag of raw ore, the slag is completely burned off. So likewise, by restraining the full chalice breath, the limitations and defects of the senses are completely burned away. So breath is the mechanism. By breath control, the faults and limitations of the senses are burned away by the technique of linking ignorance, which is burned away. Thus, having annihilated ignorance, the yogi should meditate on the self-luminous one, the spirit. The yogi, while meditating on the self-luminous one, breathes out and in again. He knows that there are 3 restrictions to the breath: emptying, the filling, and then the retaining of the breath, holding the breath. Say 3 times while the breath is held: Apo jyotiraso mitram brahma bhur bhuvasva om. Apo is water, jyoti, light, raso, divine bliss, mitram, which is actually a variation of the word amrit, spiritual nectar, and then Brahman, which is divine, the divine being. Bhur bhuvasva. Bhur is the spiritual energy or prana. Bhuva, the destroyer of sufferings. Sva, the embodiment of happiness. I've also seen Bhur bhuva sva, like from the Gayatri mantra, as referring to the physical, mental, and spiritual. When expelling the breath, the yogi creates vast empty space, restraining himself in the vast emptiness called the emptying. This emptying is not of the air, but of mental contents of the empty space. It has to do with emptying the eastern side of the astral body. So when we do breath work meditation, something we can focus on is when we are exhaling. Imagine yourself exhaling just all the disharmonious energy that's within you. Exhaling the stress, exhaling the tension, exhaling the anxieties, the fears, and so forth. And then when you are breathing in, bringing in balance. By puckering the lips, as if drinking from a straw, the yogi similarly draws in the air. This is called the filling. When the yogi, immobile, breathes neither out nor in, thus holding the air within the body, it is called the retaining. And when the yogi looks at forms like a blind man, hears sounds like the deaf, and regards the body as a log, so we're withdrawing the senses, we're bringing awareness from without to within. At this stage, the yogi is called the pacified. When the yogi enters deeply into the instrument of the mind, as the organ of imagination, and yet remains linked to the spirit, this is known as linking. Reflecting is thinking which does not run counter to the accepted doctrine. That which the yogi already has, yet still ponders over, is the object of samadhi. So we're going to do a pranayama exercise related to what we just read. This is called cooling breath, and there's a couple of ways to do it. When you're inhaling through the mouth, and you're simply pursing your lips, completely filling the chest and the belly. If genetically you're able to do this, you can also roll the tongue and bring the air in through that tube which is formed. So either one of these will work. So we're drinking the air in, holding it, and then slowly exhaling through the nose. So I invite you to find a comfortable seated position. If sitting on the floor like I'm doing doesn't necessarily work, you can use a straight-backed chair as well. I invite you to close your eyes, purse your lips, roll the tongue, and then slowly bring the air in with the inhalation. Completely filling the chest, holding the breath for a while, and then slowly exhaling through the nose. Let's repeat. Inhale, pursed lips. Hold. Exhale through the nose. And as you finish that exhalation, just really bring the belly toward the spine. Inhale through the mouth, pursed lips or tongue. Hold. Exhale through the nose. And now I invite you to just continue this for a while on your own. And now just take a deep clearing breath, letting go of the meditation and just rest. Just breathe normally. And again, just feel the effects of the meditation. You can slowly open your eyes when you feel ready. And one thing you'll probably notice is that this form of pranayama has a real calming effect to it. Good one to do if you're feeling hot and bothered. Cooling breath. So this brings us to part 3, the rules for yoga. Upon level ground, which is beautiful and free from defects, the yogi should train his mind and chant the mystical Om symbol that refers to the solar orb along the mantras. Yaditan Mandalam Tapati, or when exhaling, the shining mandala. And again, this is referring to the third eye, something when doing these meditations that you can try. Behind your closed eyes, having your eyes, your gaze turned slightly upwards toward the third eye, and you'll notice some light patterns as you do this, maybe just kind of an overall light or a circle of light or a ring of light. There's different, and you're just focusing on those patterns. The yogi should be seated in a proper meditation pose, such as the lotus pose, which is also called the auspicious posture, or even that posture which is easiest for the student, called the good fortune pose. Basically, any position where you can sit comfortably with a straight back. He should face north and remain motionless. He should close one nostril with the right thumb and take in air through the other nostril. Here the yogi holds the Kriya fire within himself as he meditates upon the sacred mantra Om. So as you do Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, like I'm modeling now, you could actually try focusing your gaze on the third eye and silently chanting Om as you inhale and as you exhale. We've done some things like this on some previous broadcasts. So that's something you could try in your own personal experiments with meditation. The Om mantra alone, the yogi should breathe out Om. The symbol is the reality. Thus, using the divine mantra sound frequently, the yogi washes away the stains of ignorance which are on his astral body and in his memory banks. So that's what we were doing in our opening meditation with the puja, exhaling. Om. Breathing in. Om. The yogi should then meditate and utter the mantra formula Om Bhur Bhuva Sva. So it's like the beginning of the Gayatri mantra. This should be done repeatedly. No extreme is possible with this technique. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of background information before I go on with verse 22 of section 3. And that is the planetary correspondences to the chakras. So the third eye, Agnya chakra, is associated with both the sun and the moon. Mercury is the throat chakra. Venus is the heart. Mars is the solar plexus. Jupiter, the sacral chakra. And Saturn, the root. And these correspond from the throat down to ether, air, fire in the solar plexus, fire in the belly, water in the pelvic region, and at the root, earth. Casting the eyes inward, sideways, above, and downward, the yogi sits motionless and firm. It is then he actually begins the practice of yoga. So there's some forms of some yoga techniques, and actually we've done a little bit of that in some of our previous classes where you're doing some eye exercises before finally closing your eyes. Through breath control, concentration of the mind, and yoga, the ascending and descending kriya currents, and that is their prana and apana. So prana is the in-breath, apana is the out-breath. So prana, the kriya currents, prana and apana meet in the Mars chakra. This would be the solar plexus. This causes the intermingling of the individual memory banks with the highest cosmic memory banks. The yoga of the 12 morae or 12 syllable mantra is also regarded as fixed according to tempo. So the 12 syllable mantra is one that I talked about in the introduction. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That's 12 syllables or 12 letters. And we're going to do some experimenting with this in just a little bit. So, the soundless dot, Bindu of Om, is voiceless, neither a constant nor a vowel, neither a consonant or a vowel, not guttural, palatal, labial, or nasal. Without the burring sound, with both lips unmoving, the sacred mantra syllable silently reverberates. With this voiceless sound, the yogi seeks the path. It is the path which is ascending life current's flow. Therefore, the yogi should always practice this method so as to be able to move along the correct path. The Mars gate, that would be solar plexus, ascends to the Venus gate, to the Mercury gate, the throat, to opening the Sun gate, that is the third eye, called the single eye gate of liberation. This is also known as Agnya chakra, or the open solar orb. The yogi should always be on guard against fear, against anger, against sloth, against too much physical movement, against too much sleeping, against too much eating, against too much fasting. Basically the old idea of when you're living your life, nothing in excess. So we're going to practice some mantra meditation for this section. So we're going to do 3 different mantras that I'll guide you through. So again, take a nice comfortable position. We're going to begin with Om for a few rounds. Then we're going to do Om Bhur Bhuva Sva for a few rounds. And then we're going to do Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're going to be doing the mantras on the out breath. And again, you can try the Kriya Kundalini pranayama with each of these mantras. So feeling the energy moving up the spine from the root to the crown as you're chanting, bringing it back down as you inhale in between. So close your eyes, back straight. We're going to be doing full breaths with this. Take a deep, full breath. Now, Om Bhur Bhuva Sva. Inhale. Om Bhur Bhuva Sva. 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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Inhale. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 One more. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Breathe normally, keeping your eyes closed. Just feeling the effects of this practice. Maybe of those three mantras, there's one that is particularly comfortable for you, and it's one that you could add to your own practice. And then when you feel ready, just slowly opening your eyes. So one other thing you could have done during this mantra practice is, again, behind closed eyes, focusing, bringing the eyes up gently to the third eye chakra. I find in doing this work, the eyes tend to do that naturally. So really the trick of that is just being aware that you're automatically doing that, and just being aware of what you visualize in that third eye center. So part 4, the results of yoga. If at all times the yogi practices this yoga according to the rules, then certainly the wisdom of spirit will ascend to him within 3 months. After 4 months of practice, the yogi sees the high astral beings. After 5 months of practice, the yogi is as dramatic as they. After 6 months of practice, without doubt, the yogi attains the ability to enter samadhi at will. So through the 5-beat more, so we're going back to Om Bhur Bhuva Sva, 5-beat mantra. So through the 5-beat more or mantra, the yogi vibrates the Saturn chakra, the root chakra. Through a 4-beat more mantra, he vibrates at the Jupiter chakra, the sacral chakra just behind the pubic bone. Through the 3 more mantra, 3 beats, he vibrates at the Mars chakra. Through the 2 more mantra, he vibrates at the Venus chakra. And through 1 more mantra, he vibrates at the Mercury chakra. But when the yogi meditates on the half more mantra, the very end, he transcends the mind and enters the all-seeing eye, Agni chakra, and becomes aware of reality and reality alone. So we're going to do this as our next exercise. So we're going to chant the full mantra Om Bhur Bhuva Sva, focusing on the base of the spine, root chakra, area of the perineum. Then Om Bhur Bhuva in the sacral chakra. Om Bhur Bhu, solar plexus. Om Bhur for the heart. And then for the throat, when we do Om, we're going to start by having our awareness at the throat at the start of Om, and then we're going to end it being aware of the third eye. So I invite you now to again close your eyes. Nice straight spine. You're going to be doing real full breaths. I'll guide you through it. So we're going to chant the full mantra while focusing on the root chakra, the perineum and the base of the spine. Inhale. Om Bhur Bhuva Sva. Second time. Om Bhur Bhuva Sva. One more time. Om Bhur Bhuva Sva. And then just take a moment focusing on the root chakra. You can also focus on your lower extremities. Just feeling the effects of the earth element. So now the lower abdomen. Om Bhur Bhuva. Inhale. Om Bhur Bhuva. Om Bhur Bhuva. Om Bhur Bhuva. Then take a moment focusing on that second chakra behind the pubic bone, and just feeling the energies associated with the water element. So now we're going to focus on the solar plexus, the upper abdomen. Om Bhur Bhu. Inhale. Om Bhur Bhu. Om Bhur Bhu. Om Bhur Bhuv. And meditate quietly for a moment. Just feeling the effects of the fire element. Now focusing on the heart chakra, just Om Bhur. Inhale. Om Bhur. Om Bhur. Om Bhur. Continue to focus on the heart. And just feeling the effects of the energies of the air element. And now we're going to do 3 Oms. Focusing at first on our throat chakra, the throat center, and moving our awareness up and finishing at the third eye. Inhale. Just keeping your awareness on the third eye chakra. We're going to do 9 rounds of the full mantra. Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha. 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 And just meditate now in stillness and silence. Just feeling the effect of the whole practice. You may notice that your mind feels free of thoughts. You may find yourself very relaxed. You find yourself on a bit of a spiritual high. Just feeling very good, blissed. And in doing this meditation on your own, you can just allow yourself to sit here quietly in this Turiya state for a while. And then after a while, you'll find your awareness starting to return. Just becoming aware again of your surroundings, of your body seated where it is. Starting to move your fingers and toes, arms and legs, hands and feet. Slowly opening your eyes and returning. I'd still recommend some quiet time after doing this particular very powerful meditation. Don't go driving off operating heavy machinery, for example. Give yourself some grounding and centering time. And this brings us to the fifth and final section of the Upanishad, prana and its ramifications. The space is 30 fingers broad, where the life force resides with all other life forces. The breath within prana serves as the playground of the breath outside. The number 113 multiplied by 1,000 plus 180 is the number of incoming and outgoing breaths produced in the interval of the day and night. The number we come to then is 113,180. Divided by the 5 pranas, the 5 vital breaths, participating in each breath pattern gives 22,636 respirations in 24 hours, or approximately 15.7 respirations per minute. Thus, a single respiration lasts approximately 3.8 seconds. The Thgis Upanishad fixes the number of 4 seconds per breath. Modern man's respiration has become much shorter, especially when we're stressed. The prana life force, this is in-breath, dwells in the heart, and apana breath life force, this is the exhaling breath and the process of elimination, dwells in the bowels. The samana life force, this is the pause between inhaling and exhalation, dwells in the navel, whereas the udana life force, prana of upward movement, this force dwells in the neck. And then dhyana life force, this is the life force associated with the joints, with the veins, with the arteries, with the nerves, all of the connective tissues and muscles. And it dwells, quite logically, in the limbs and continually controls and rules these. Now, the color of the 5 prana life forces are as follows. The prana life force, inhalation, resembles the luster of a red-hued ruby. The apana, or exhalation life force, shines scarlet, like a scarlet pimpernel, bright red flower. Samana life force shines like milk-colored crystal. Udana life force is pale yellow, and Dhyana life force is the hue of a flame. So this is talking about the 5 vital breaths. And then the summary. The yogi who breaks through the final gate, causing the breath to ascend into the single all-seeing eye, Agnya Chakra, no matter where or how he dies, never again reincarnates on earth. He is never born again on this earth. Om, this is the Vedic explanation. Om, this is the yogic explanation. Om, this is the Kriya explanation. Om, this is the Tantra explanation. Om Tat Sat Om, so shall it be. I invite you now to bring the palms of your hands to your heart center, and we'll close with a short benediction. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much for joining me and taking part in this. Have a wonderful night and day ahead. And I look forward to you joining me for our next program, the Yoga Nidra Meditation. And namaste. So something you might try after watching this broadcast is to find one single practice that you're really interested in working with, something that really speaks to you. So it could be the Om meditation, either just chanting the syllable Om or trying to move the energy current up and down the spine as you're chanting and inhaling. You could try maybe for about 5 minutes chanting one of the mantras that we did also, Om Bhur Bhuvasva or Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You could try the chakra-based meditation with the 5-syllable mantra, Om Bhur Bhuvasva, and just really allow yourself a lot of time in stillness and silence afterwards, and let yourself come out naturally and slowly. So I invite you to choose one, try it over this next week. And if you have questions or if you'd like to share your experiences, please feel free to email me at my channel. So again, thank you. Have a wonderful night. Namaste. Jai Mata Di.